Good morning.
Morning.
So this morning we are here with Mira Nassef, and I'm just going to do a little introduction for those that are joining for the first time. So this is Glow, a virtual wellness summit. It's our first summit, hosted by Wellness Studio. And I'm Susan, and I'm so super excited to be hosting this virtual wellness summit because there's so many amazing nuggets of information and different modalities that are out there to help us to go from burnout to brilliance. And as we approach these colder, darker months that are ahead, some of these modalities have interwoven together or separate one to the other, all have properties that can help us to find balance, to find inner light. And so this summit is just, it's the Hunter Moon. And the hunter moon is really the time that the hunters went to gather what they needed in order to survive the winter. So this is what this summit is about. It's gathering nuggets of information in order for us in our bodies and minds and spirits to be able to get through these coming months. So with me today, I have Mira Nassef. And Mira is, well, you've been practicing, let me see, how many years has it been now? It's been 13 years, am I correct?
It's to 15,
13,
actually.
15. Okay, it's 15 years interpreting tarot. And she provides readings to empower individuals in their quest to find answers to their burning questions. So she believes tarot can be used as a coaching tool in helping others understand their desires and guide them in the power of their decisions. So Mira is avidly studying and working on manifestation and feels that tarot and manifestation are deeply connected. And she's also a certified yoga teacher and level 1 Reiki practitioner. So this is the introduction for Mira, and so happy to have you here. One of our favorite classes here at Welma is definitely the manifestation and tarot class. It's always so poignant and accurate, and it really is truly a fun but informative class. So maybe the first question for you, Mira, is one, first to introduce yourself to the crowd, but then to explain how manifestation and tarot work hand in hand to guide personal growth and inner wellness. So I'll leave it to you.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so honored and grateful to be here today, and very excited also to be a part of this journey with you. Yes, I've been doing tarot for quite some time now, a lot of self-readings, a lot of readings for others, as I grew along the journey of understanding what tarot really means. For such a long time, tarot had been used as a divination tool, primarily for understanding, what's going to happen, what is my future coming up as being. And yes, for some people it's been useful. I would see that a lot of people would divinate using the cards and understanding and predicting even future events. In my experience with tarot, though, I've noticed that I had moments of divination. That is true. I have seen things, which I will say. But more importantly, what I'm noticing about the cards is that they tend to show me things about the person and not so much about events. It's more about what's going on in their subconscious. The fact that they're the ones choosing the cards instead of, somebody randomly picking cards, in my mind is their subconscious at work, picking the cards for them and illustrating messages that tell them what they really want, what's their innermost desire. And as I started to understand this better and better over time, I started to also learn about manifestation just as a connection, to understand what is manifestation. And so as I continued studying manifestation, I understood many things. I started to read, of course, the greats who talk a lot about it, Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, and so on, Florence Scovel Shinn, like all these names of these great thought people that came about from the mid-century of the 20th century that started mentioning things like that. And I put the pieces together and I realized that when a person picks tarot cards, first of all, it's their subconscious that sort of guides them to select the cards. There's 72 cards altogether. That's a lot of cards. So the subconscious picks them out. And my role is to translate the cards, to translate what their subconscious is saying to them so that they're able to understand really what's going on in their subconscious. The subconscious, here it is. That's where the manifestation power lies. The subconscious's role is to tell the person, listen, what you're doing right now may be aligned or it may not be aligned with who you really are. And what I understand with these cards, especially the major arcana, the major arcana, the Fool, the World, the Sun, the Moon, all those major cards are there to really explain to this person what they're going through right now and possibly what can they do just right now, today. What decision can they make today to help shape their future, their manifestation that they really want to see into fruition? And so the drawing power of the cards will connect the person to their highest self that's connected to their subconscious mind, and therefore will help them understand who they really are. Who are you? Because we only attract who we are, not what we want. And that's based on Neville Goddard's teachings. And so if I can use that tool, the tarot, to help the person understand who they really are, what is it that they really want? What is their draw? What are they drawn to? What are they most interested in? This is going to tell them something about themselves that they might want to work on or to connect with, so that after that, they start to make decisions that are more aligned with who they are becoming. And as a result, the manifestation of what they truly want in their lives will slowly come up with conversations, with people coming up, with synchronicities that may show up in their life, in their circumstances. It may take some time for the manifestation to come up, but at the same time, the person must really consider the fact that they need to hold on to the idea that it will happen and that it's already happened. It actually already has happened in a different, timeline, if you will. And the trick is to just stay there in comfort and in relaxation and calm and in faith, in knowing that it's coming in the 3D, in this experience. So that's really what I do with the tarot. That's really what tarot has shown me, is you can use this tool to help people really dive into what they really truly want inside and to work on that and to get a better understanding of where they're going with this, how are their decisions taking them to where they want to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. For me, in all of the times that I've been in one of your sessions, I find it is that cause and effect, or you have these ideas in your head, but it's as if this is confirming even, or bringing out another aspect that you maybe had a partial idea of what you want to manifest or bring into your life or call into your life. But this just sort of defines it a little bit deeper, or adds another level of introspection or reflection that you may not have thought yourself in the moment. So it just sort of clarifies maybe some details, I find, and supports some ideas that you already may have happening in your head. It's like a support system,
mm,
and I find the way you read the cards, I mean, your cards so well, and in regards to the visual aspect of them as well, the way you can pull out the details from the cards, to make that story much clearer as well. I find that that's where the magic lies also, is in the way that you interpret, which is, you have to have the talent of interpreting the cards, which I think you have a high talent for. So.
thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. And I did study, and again, I'm still in the process. I'll be honest, I'm still in the process of studying the cards themselves, especially the Rider-Waite deck that was from the 19th century. I know tarot's been around much longer. It's been around since the 1400s when it was an Italian Viscount that asked to have cards prepared for them, and it was all done. They call it le tarot de Marseille, which is very basic when you see them. It's incredibly colorful, very symbolic, but not a fan. I'm not a big fan because major arcanas are obviously very illustrative, but the minor arcanas are just simply basic. It evolved. It definitely evolved since. And so I use the Rider-Waite deck because it's full of symbols and full of imagery, and every single card, including the minor arcana, have some kind of picture, some kind of, you know, illustration and symbols. And so I'm still learning to understand and decipher every single symbol. It is incredibly rich. So really happy to use them.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I mean, you say you're still, learning them, but for yeah, I guess we're always students of our own life and our own calling. So you can always grow, always interpret, and always find deeper meaning. The more your own ideas of what's happening in your conscious and subconscious mind evolve, I guess the more you can read deeper into those cards as well. So it will probably be a lifelong journey for you, as it is for all of us when we continue to study and evolve. So, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. It's amazing. It's a school for me, and it's there is so much to learn from this because the journey to know who you are is a lifelong journey. You don't stop at a certain age. It's continuous. And I'm going to move into a topic too that I think is going to be helpful for later in this talk is awareness. We're trying to understand who we really are. Well, to understand who you really are, you need to work with your awareness. You can't just rummage your way through life and react to circumstances and think that this is who you are. This is not exactly the case. In fact, I've been saying to people recently that our bodies and our minds are temporary. And I think we all know this. We're all going to eventually depart this planet, and this body and its mind will no longer be there. However, what's really good to know is that our consciousness, that is our awareness, is what's going to remain. And apparently, from what I've been hearing, and I've been really getting into this, people who've had, near-death experiences or who've experienced moments of death and came back and said, it's not what you think it is. There is an awareness that continues, and the learning never stops. The learning never stops. So we're here. We're very fortunate to be here. I always think about how grateful I am to be here in this lifetime for learning all of this and meeting so many amazing people. And wow, I'm just astounded. And I think the awareness comes into play here because I'm noticing that I'm becoming more and more aware of what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, why this is happening. And it's not, I don't have all the answers, but I'm thinking, wow, this is where the power of manifestation lies. It's in my awareness, in getting to know who I am, which is going to take the rest of my life. And also to love that, love those parts of me that are not perfect, that are less than perfect, and to just put that together and start working on my healing, because we all need to work on our healing. And I
Mhm.
hope also that tarot is also a good tool for that too.
Yeah, so speaking of healing and all, I mean, this summit is about burnout, right? So a lot of people achieve burnout from different reasons. It could be family stress, work stress, temperature, even going into these dark months. Like myself, I have a hard time with the change into this darker season. I really appreciate the brighter, sunnier months. Even though winter has a lot of bright sunshine, the 4 p.m. darkness is a bit of a killer for me. But so those that feel like they're stuck or in burnout or heading towards burnout, how can they gain, or what can they gain from incorporating tarot practices, and how can they change? Can they change mindset with this tool? Is that something that can help them on their path to brilliance?
This is a fabulous question because it does address the issue of people going through difficult moments in their lifetime and especially difficult storms, crises. Burnout, I would consider a burnout a crisis. Um, what is a crisis? It is a turning point in a person's life, right? It's a moment of like, so much is happening, right? And I feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and you use the word burnout because obviously it is a moment in a life that I'm literally, I have no more resources. I can no longer function. So I've met people at my job who had to leave for a certain number of weeks or months in order to get out of that environment, you know? So the question about tarot, I'm going to show you a card that I think kind of comes along with it, if you will. It is circumstantial. It is an event that shows that the person is helpless, powerless. Okay. And I find a lot of people get nervous about it because they find it's just so dramatic, but it's true. There it is, the tower. So we experience tower moments, not so much, okay, yes, tower moments can represent things in our lives that are incredibly sudden, frightening. Like, in other words, my foundation has been ripped away from me. I've lost my job. I don't know, my house, I had a foreclosure, divorce, separation. The person I've been with has left me or cheated on me or whatever it is. Things like that are representative of this tower. We notice, however, at the top of the tower, we got a lightning strike, fire, and it is incredibly like, woo, it's happening very quickly, very suddenly. The people falling out, as you notice, they're upside down. This is important, okay? This is why burnout, from when I look at burnout now, I think of it as an incredible moment in a person's life. It's actually a grace. I'm not joking. I think it's a grace because the person gets to understand the upside down of the situation. They can turn it upside down and say, wait a second, I'm actually in a moment where I realize I've been through so much right now that I need to work on who I really am. I probably was disaligned for some time with who I really am. And now I can do it in this time. I can finally discover what I want because now I know what I don't want. And that's the tower moment. That's the revelation. That is the lightning bolt that is hitting the building. That's the aha. That's where so burnout is actually a blessing because it does help you figure out, or at least step by step, work out exactly what it is you do not want. And then you flip it. You flip it opposite, under a totally upside down experience where you can say, this is what I want now for reals.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true because, well, I mean, first of all, you have to be aware, like you spoke of before. It's the
Yes.
awareness of your emotions. Now, if you're really in a state of burnout, hopefully you have people surrounding you and you're finding tools like this to
Correct.
describe that, because even that description of what you just said in the card for somebody who is going through a burnout allows them to feel like there is an upside to their downside right now. So
Mhm.
that, just that description alone helps people to realize, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. I have a brighter possibility. I'm upside down now. I'm falling from this tower that's burning in flames. But the way you've described it, it makes them reflect on the fact that that means once I go down, I can only go up from there, right?
Exactly.
So no matter how low you are, there's only up from that moment. So by giving them tools like that and describing that you might be hanging upside down and on a burning tower right now, but just think that once you've flipped over, you're going to know you don't want to recreate that. And then how can you go and seek maybe more tools or more
Yes.
guidance? Or, you know, we're not saying that tarot alone will solve their burnout, but it gives a moment of reflection to say, oh, that's true. Like I'm hanging upside down, but I can turn myself around and I won't want to recreate this anymore. So I love that. Yeah, that's great.
And remember too, the burnout is also a nervous system problem. So there's a lot of physical, there's even the brain that's going through its own, stuff. So I'm not limiting tarot to healing the burnout. Tarot is just a tool to guide the aware individual. I really will call this an awareness moment, to help themselves make those decisions that will help them recover, such as, and I'm giving examples here. There could be some consultation with a therapist or a psychologist or whatever is needed in that area. That is absolutely a possibility. Going to see your doctor for a medical. All of those things are part of the decision plan or the plan of recovering, because the nervous system needs to its own healing, its own recovery. So the medical profession could be there. There's also, like I said, there's tons of other options. There's yoga, there's breath work, meditation, like the practices of every day. You don't go see your doctor every day, but you can do a meditation practice every day for 5 minutes just to help center yourself and becoming more aware of, what's going on in your mind. All of those practices for the daily, everyday part can be of incredible help to navigate, because a burnout is a process just like any other. And like I said, it is a blessing because it does help the person really wake up.
Mm.
It's a wake up call. Yeah.
So are there any simple manifestation rituals that our audience can try for themselves? Like, is there something like I know, like you read these cards and you understand the details and the nuances with them, but is there something that our audience themselves, is there something they can do if they're not an experienced tarot reader?
Well, of course, if they have tarot cards, they can always explore the cards. But again, that's a whole other that's a whole other thing. I have come up with a few things that I've done myself that have helped me understand a bit more about what I'm doing, what I'm going through in many things. And the first thing I want to say about people going through tough times is to be grateful of what they're going through. A burnout, like I said, is a blessing. So one must be grateful that this is a major turning point. So this is what I call every day, every morning when I wake up, I do something called the 3 salutations of gratitude. And so as soon as I get out of, I don't even have to get out of bed. I just have to rouse. Then I sit on the bed, like the feet on the floor, and I'm just on the edge of my bed, basically. And I literally, and I'm going to just move a little bit so that my arms have more space. I literally do this. I just lift up my arms like this, take a huge deep breath in. And then as my hands come to my heart center, I say, thank you. And I say whatever the thank you is for. So I choose something in the gratitude of what I'm thankful for. It could be anything. It could be my home. It could be another day of opportunity. It could be another day of rest. It could be thank you for my recuperation. Thank you for my healing. Whatever it is, we choose something to be grateful for, and we do it 3 times. So once, breathe in, and then breathe out, heart center, and then another thing to be grateful for. So 3 things, 3 different things.
Is
So
there a reason the number 3 is significant in the process?
yes. So 3, we always say 3 is magic. And 3 is almost like the triangle, right? We often see people with their hands doing the famous triangle. This is a powerful symbol. And the 3, there is kind of like a balance in the 3. I'm in AA. We also have a triangle, right? Recovery, fellowship, and service. So we have 3 things that we balance out, that we try to make life, into this circle within the triangle within the circle. And so 3 things for me is almost like it's a magical, kind of like a magical ritual, if I can see it that way. So yes, three different things. Some people say five, but personally I like three because it's quicker. It gets me right into a good mindset of, it's true, I am abundant. It's true. Oh my goodness, I have this going on. I'm so lucky. Oh my goodness, there's that too. And when we have those three things, we're in a mindset of almost like the vibration goes up and it's in a receptive mode of receiving better things. Gratitude is a true key to manifesting what we want. So when we're in a burnout, we have been manifesting, if you think about it, in a burnout state. All the things that have happened in the past are manifested into this burnout. This burnout is a manifestation. And so, coming into this state of being will, of course, bring us to negative thoughts or why is this happening? Right. So instead of thinking of from that perspective, when I'm grateful for even the smallest thing, my breath, I'm grateful for just my breath alone. I know that that's also something we take for granted. Well, breathing in and breathing out, especially from the nose. So it's important to consider that the nose breath is way more resourceful, way more nourishing than breathing from the mouth. All right. So breathing and really a deep chest breath down all the way to the belly. So we hold it for maybe, the hands up in the air for like maybe 2 to 3 seconds. And then when we exhale, if you want to exhale through the nose, that's ideal. So exhaling through the nose, hands to heart, and then thank you for my blessings. Thank you for my abundance. And 3 times.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's
And
true, for sure, for sure. When we work at frequencies, which we are all energy and frequency, when you're thinking in a state of lack, you are attracting. It's the law of attraction. When you're thinking negative, you're attracting negative. When you're thinking positive, you're attracting positive. So the more we can switch just our thoughts into a positive action, then it's going to rebound in a positive way. Like we even just our energetic field that surrounds us, we forget that that is part of our being. Like we are our physical body and we are the energetic field that surrounds us. And when we project something into our own field, if we're projecting something negative, we're going to receive that negativity. And if we project something positive, we're going to receive that back in a positive way. So I think that is great, and definitely that's something people should try and add to their lives, whether it's the beginning of the day or even at the end of the day, if they want to close off their day that way as well. That's lovely. So now back though to, let's say, the cards. What do you think about like oracle cards? Is that something that
yeah.
a non professional can tap into maybe more easily? Is that something you would suggest, just pulling
Oh,
something like, because there's so many different concepts out there for tarot, right?
incredibly. There's so much to choose from. It's amazing, amazing. Yes, I do recommend Oracle cards. I find they're empowering. They are absolutely inspiring. They help you sort of pave the way, for the day ahead or even the evening, the night that's coming, the before bed, taking maybe 3 cards. I find again with a three, yeah, I find the three is so powerful because it tells a story. 2 cards, maybe, but I find with the third card, it adds a little bit more texture, a little bit more beauty, and it does really say a story. Like, how are you navigating through your moments? If I can recommend, I'm just going to get up for a second and I'm going to bring a couple of cards that I use in my tarot readings. Sorry. So these are the 2 oracle cards that I oftentimes use in my workshops at Welma. So we have I don't know if you can read it because it seems to be upside down.
Moonology. Yes,
Moonology.
moonology. I see it. Beautiful.
Yes, I love these cards. They are simple. The message is very straightforward. And having three, because that's what I do in the mornings too. I do pull out 3 of these to help me sort of put together a message. Because when you put the 3 together, there really is some kind of a message that they talk to each other, I find. And it really does give me some inspiration as to how to how to look at my day. There's this one particular card that's called communication is key, or don't let the past hold you back. Things, very simple. And I find they are so connected to what I'm going through. Sometimes they really do speak to me. So I would definitely recommend this deck. There are people who love animals. I mean, this one is absolutely beautiful. So again, Colette Baron Reed, this amazing animal oracle or animal spirit. There's beautiful messages in the little booklet that comes with it for each animal. And one does not need to pick three. In my opinion, I think one card is enough because there is so much in there. It's just incredibly, well said, well versed. Each animal, if I can show you just a couple of them, just to show you the beauty. Look at this one. So a tiny little message is here at the bottom. So it gives you just the gist, but I always sincerely recommend, I never have time to read them at the studio because there is so much going on. But for anyone who wishes to purchase this deck, there is, like I said, a little notebook inside the little book that explains everything. Look at this one. Look how beautiful.
Yeah, can you read the little bottom line there on that? Tell us.
Time, yeah, this is perfect for the burnout person. Time for a deep dive. Because as you know, the swan's head goes under the water, so the deep dive. And so when a person goes through a burnout, they really do, it is the call to go through a deep dive. Like, what's going on here? What am I going through here? So, sometimes these cards, they say things right at the moment you need it.
Yeah,
And
well, look at you. You just picked that card when we were talking about burnout, and then you fell onto the card that was about, deep diving. So even that was, divinely guided.
exactly.
So then a question. So do you journal? They're asking,
Yes.
do you journal? And is that something that you would incorporate with this sort of practice?
So I'm going to say something about journaling. You got to be mega honest, when you journal. It's nice to write about what you did, what happened in the daytime, and anything like I met this person, I spoke, and that's some people journal this way, and that's great. However, I think it's also a place of personal safety. So journaling is all about you talking about how you feel, talking about what you want. Okay. And I also really am a big proponent of not complaining. Okay. I used to complain for so long and this. It doesn't help. It manifests the things we don't want because our words are powerful. The words carry energy. So we really need to be careful about how we put ourselves, out there with the words that we use. Journaling is being honest. So you can write about, I've been feeling exhausted. Sincerely, I've been feeling tired about what's been going on. But what I also recommend in journaling, and this is what I started doing for the past several years, especially during the pandemic, because we were isolated all the time, is to write about what you want. Write about what you want. What do you really want? What do you really, really want? If you're experiencing disharmony at home, you want harmony, right? Because that's exactly the opposite. Think of the tower where the person's upside down. I want the opposite of what I've been going through. So I'm going to
I
write a
have a
whole.
question about the wanting, and
Yes.
I understand that the concept, but I've also heard some people say to write it more that it's actually happening rather than like the desire. So do you have a comment on that? Like the way you write your want.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Yes, you can write your ideal day. Perfect day. What's my perfect day? And you start from the moment you wake up. So you take your journal, your notebook, and even if you want, you can even start writing the time. I wake up at 8 a.m. and I get up and I make a cup of coffee. And I take my cup and I look at the window and any detail, as detailed as you want, your perfect day. It may be that you're not working. You're actually doing something that's really, really fulfilling right now. So describe that. Describe that in incredible detail because the more detail you put in, the more the universe We'll say, oh, that's what you want. Okay, well, let's see what we can do to get this ball rolling. All right. So, your perfect day, if it's about a relationship, put in the perfect day with my partner, right? So, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep in the day that you're describing, and what's everything in between, that would be a great start for the work that you do. You know, if you have difficulties at work, which I'm sure so many of us have, what would be your perfect day? Even if, you know, imagine if this is the job that you are really happy doing, but there's been some issues with the boss and the colleagues. Okay, I'm going to write exactly the type of day I want at the office. So boss is super happy, giving us free donuts, whatever it is. Like, you just describe what you want as a perfect day in every area that you're looking at. And guess what? Interestingly, you read it and you keep reading it. Keep reading it, you know, just look at it, meditate on it, digest it. And you will notice that sometimes little nuggets of change, as you're going to notice shifts going on in your environment. People are going to be different. They're going to treat you in a different way. So, and I would recommend perfect day. I would say once a week if you have the time. If you don't have the time, because maybe it takes long to do, once a month. You know, I would recommend every new moon. Oh boy. Every new moon. Just that's the intention. That's the time where we set intentions. So you look at the time of the new moon, it's usually within 24 hours. So you can carve out maybe 15 minutes of your day where you just write, okay, I wake up at this hour, da 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 da, and this is my perfect day. And your intentions, you're basically sending that to the universe. Then, after you read through your perfect day, you can do this before bed, by the way, if you want to keep reading the perfect day that you wrote every night before bed so that your subconscious records, and you let it go. Let it go during the day. Just do everything you got to do during the day. But then you come back before bedtime and you read your perfect day and you're like, oh, yeah, such a nice place to be in. And then, sure enough, things are going to start to change. Doesn't take long. Moon cycle.
That's such an amazing idea. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom because yeah, for sure. New moons. I mean, some people don't understand the power of the moon, but farmers work by the moon,
Yep.
sailors sail by the moon. Like the moon has a power that and for me, it really is a moment to put more intention, reflection, let go, call in what I want for the future, and use that power to empower myself with my own thoughts and keep moving forward to that perfect day. Keep moving forward to that perfect day. Mm.
And the burnout that we come
Yeah.
back to. Sometimes, you know what I think it is? The universe is shifting things around already to make your life better. It's really what it is. The universe is doing its part. And sometimes it does come to a tower moment where things have to happen and you are just powerless to the situation. And again, blessing, because you may not look at it as a blessing right away. It can be very difficult. Yes, understandably, but just know that something better is coming. There's something coming up. There's something being cooked in the kitchen of the universe right now. And it's going to be a 5-course meal and it's going to be delicious. So just be
Yeah.
ready for it.
Well, that is the planting of the seed in darkness. You know, a tree does not grow in on the top of the grass. You need to dig the hole, plant that seed in darkness, and then once it starts to sprout in the darkness, then it pushes its way up and through, and then we have that beautiful flower or tree. So it's it's the darkness is what the burnout is. The burnout is the time for us to like plant that new seed, right? To realize we dug that hole. We're now at the bottom, but we can turn that around by planting that new seed and growing something new. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So we have a few minutes left. Do we have time for like a quick little reading?
Certainly do. Actually, I wanted to just show you before we do that, two cards that have inspired me about this time of the year that's coming up.
Mm.
And the cards I would say to focus on is the moon, as we've been talking about. So just looking quickly at the moon, you'll notice the Cancer crab coming up from the surface, into the surface, sorry, from the depths of the sea or the ocean. And just think about how for so long, a person who's been going through burnout may have hidden a lot of emotions and not wanting to deal with them. In the moon, it's the opportunity to talk, to get through those emotions, to actually address them and to work through them. So in the dark times that we're coming into, go within, go within. That's the message. And also the star. And the star is a night card, as you can see. As well, you can look at it as the sun has set and we're in twilight mode. And you'll see that 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's what we're going to see. But what's beautiful about the star is that it's also a wishing card, focusing on what you want. And so, be open to the universe, be open to the messages that the universe gives, be receptive, be vulnerable, be you, discover who you really are. She's naked, right? So she's basically took off her clothes, which are, in my opinion, the ego's way of armor, right? So she's removed her armor and she is now completely vulnerable to the universe. And so, yes, those two, right? Get in touch with your emotions, how you're feeling, and focus on what you want, and just trust that the universe will provide.
That's terrific. Thank you.
Okay, so you wanted us to conclude this with I would say, what time is it? We got 15 minutes.
Yeah, 10.
So,
10.
okay. So let me get the cards out. I'm just giving them a quick shuffle. And so here they are. And I'm just going to sort of put my finger around just to see if there's anything that comes up for you.
Yeah, that one.
This one here. Okay. Number one, we're going to go for two for now, and we'll see if we can get a third one in, okay?
Yeah, well, just pick the one maybe that
Oh, let me just bring them back. Hang on.
I like the one that's already sticking up.
This one here? Or, oh, could it be this?
That one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so let's start with these two. So the first card you chose is the 10 of Wands. Now, this is a minor arcana of the Wands, which is fire. So the symbol is fire, and we come to the 10. Now, the 10 of Wands is, as you can see, there's a person walking with a bunch of wands in front of them, and their destination is that hill, that tower up on the hill there, all right? So the person is definitely moving towards a destination, which, in my opinion, from what I'm understanding in this card, is their ideal. They're moving towards an ideal. However, along the way, they have picked up a lot of different things that they need to deal with. So we're talking about a road, a journey that you're probably going through right now. You're picking up a lot of things along the way. You want to move towards this ideal, whatever this means to you. It could be the ideal of, the project you're working on, the ideal of your personal life, the ideal of a possible eventual future that you've been dreaming about. All of these things are represented by this beautiful building on top of a hill. However, at the 10 level, there are things you may need to cut off, okay? There are things that you've taken too much of. A lot is on your plate. There's a lot of stress, maybe, a lot of things that are on the mind that are just, occupying, and responsibilities that may have been, taken, and too much of them, too many different things that are going on. And some of these things could very well be no longer needed, things that you don't need to have anymore or to handle anymore, because it's done. And, we need to leave those behind. So it's about lightening the load, because when you have all these things in front of you, you cannot see the destination. You can't see it. So the advice here in this card is take a look at all the different things that you're dealing with at the same time that's on your plate. And is there anything out of these things that you may want to sort of remove? or maybe put on the back burner. Maybe say, I'm going to deal with this maybe in the spring instead of now. So it's just about priorities. Priorities. So shifting priorities. What are the most pressing priorities? What are the things I really, really want to accomplish now? But the priorities that are not so important, maybe I can push those and give them time, right? And I'll be more energetic by the time comes for me to handle those, and I will be ready to tackle those. So it's a little time management and also shifting the priorities. I
Yep,
see a
that
timing.
speaks to me.
That does? Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. I see a timing element here. This is the second card you picked. This is the Two of Swords. And when I look at that card, so we've got two things that are happening, two thoughts. Because the swords now, unlike the wands, which is energy, putting my energies into multiple things, in the case of this card, here we have thoughts. Swords are thoughts, unlike wands, which are energy. So this is air, the air symbol. And we have two predominant thoughts that are going through your mind at the moment, two predominant ones, and they are not exactly powerful. They're disempowering. Okay. So two things that you're probably battling with in your mind that you're like, oh, and at the same time, what happens is that there's this hesitancy. There's this, I'm not sure if I can do this kind of feeling going on. The person is blindfolded, which literally means they don't want to see. They're kind of fearful. There's a little doubt going on. Notice it's nighttime. So imagine being blindfolded at night. That's even harder. It's harder to make a decision when there's complete utter darkness in the mind. So the Two of Swords means this possibility, but there's also something really interesting about it too. There's a timing element. So the timing, what I'm suggesting here in the swords is that swords means months. And I'm seeing 2 months. And from what I'm understanding, I think we need to pick a third card in understanding what's going on in 2 months, because we're today October. So this is December. This is December. So we're the 20th. Oh my goodness, it's the solstice. Oh my goodness, it's the winter solstice coming up in exactly 2 months. So the 20th, the 21st, we're really in solstice mode. So utter darkness, the darkest day of the year.
Wow.
Aha. So let's figure out, or let's take a look and see, what are we talking about in 2 months' time? So I'm going to get you to guide me here in terms of, I'm going
And
to
no,
move my.
the one that's like it kind of spread on the left a little bit, and then no, the other way. You're right. Yeah, it kind of had a
Okay.
spread there. So stop. I have to stop talking. Wait. Above, like, see if you say something, because right now when I speak, but the screen is big, so I see you in teeny tiny. So the one there, yeah,
This one here?
the the one in front of that one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That
I'm
one.
ready. So we're in cups mode. So what's happening in 2 months is a celebration. A celebration. So we have 3 ladies there, or 3 females, if you want to say it, feminine people who are lifting their cups up in abundance. They're celebrating the reception. Okay, they've got grapes above them. So there's a lot of drinking here. There's a lot of revelry, a lot of enjoyment, appreciation. So again, with the 3. Yeah. So, we're looking at here in 2 months' time. So when the solstice comes around in December 20, 21st, 22nd, around those days, there's going to be a feeling. Remember, these are states, and the cups really do represent emotions, people in our lives, relationships, but more importantly, feelings. And it is the happiness, and there's healing in the 3 of Cups. There's healing, okay? Water, right? The joy of the water, the drinks, the just the feeling of, I'm so grateful and happy that that this is happening for me. So it looks to me with the 2 of Swords, meaning to me 2 months, that in 2 months' time, you will be in this state of celebration. There's going to be a lot of joy, a lot of, I don't know what the thing that you desire is exactly, but with the advice of the 10 of Wands is to perhaps unload a little bit for your desire to come through. So by unloading some of the things, shifting priorities, that desire is going to come to fruition and you will be celebrating in 2 months' time. Does that make sense?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah, you have such a good way of describing everything. Like I said, like always right, especially for me, it feels like every time we have a reading, it's like specific to me. So never doubt at all what's being read in the cards for myself. So thank you so much, Mira, for having spent this time chatting today and helping us to understand more about what tarot is and this example so people can see how tarot can be used in that state of burnout and how these moments of conversation and guidance and thought processes is just a way of opening ideas in your own head. Like you're not diagnosing anything for them, they have to interpret that conversation that sits well with them, but there's always a good message behind it to help clarify some of our own personal thoughts and what we're going through. So, how can people find you? Uh, how can they find you? And I know there's a little offering that you're giving that you hold monthly classes here at
Yes.
Wilma, so you're giving 20% off
Yes.
on the next session. Well, the next ones for the year. So November and December's with the code that they're going to get a link to that code when this summit is over. But how can they find you? I'm going to write it here in the text.
Yep. So you can find, first of all, definitely Wellness Studio is a great place to start. I have cards that I give to people. So if you're interested in having a one-on-one reading, but definitely our next session at the Wellness Studio will be Sunday, November 10th at 1 o'clock. So feel free to sign up for the session and you can find me there at the studio in person. We also have a session December. I forgot the date. I don't have my agenda with me. I believe it is the second Sunday of December that we have it as well. So if you can't make it in November, you can always be, come in December, the second Sunday. I'm available on Facebook. You can actually find my name on Facebook and also the Instagram, Mira Nassef, all in one word, is available on Instagram. You can find me there. You can reach out to me there. More than happy to reach out in any of those two mediums as well. Yeah, there it is.
I
That's
added it in
perfect.
the chat. I added
Thank
it
you so
in the chat.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's very easy. Again, I'm very grateful to be a part of this summit. Thank you so much for having me with me, Susan. It's been an honor and pleasure to have been participating in this event. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I'm looking forward to that November session and see what happens December 2021. I'm going to write that down. I didn't have my agenda journal out, but I'm going to remember. And I do have things I need to offload. So you are absolutely right. I need to prioritize or not offload, maybe just push things
Push
further.
it.
Not necessarily
Exactly.
get rid of it all, just prioritize. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
Thank,
thank you, Mira, and have a lovely rest of the day. And this was a fun conversation. Thank
thank
you.
you as well, Susan. Enjoy the rest of the weekend as well, and have a great week ahead.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.